So welcome back guys to We Talk Boxing, and in this video I'm going to be talking about one of the fights which took place over last weekend, which was the main headliner and the trilogy I should say, between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. Now before I continue giving you guys my thoughts, if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe, help us increase the numbers of followers on this channel. If you have, thank you. Now, I am going to give you my thoughts in regards to the fight itself, but I'm just going to talk about just a quick glance over some of the other fights that happened over the weekend. Now, in terms of the main headliner between Hamza Shiraz and Edgar Berlanga, that was a fight which was phenomenal, especially from Hamza Shiraz's point of view. The way he stopped Berlanga was sensational, and that's something obviously that Canelo Alvarez couldn't do. But Berlanga made mistakes, and he got caught, and he paid the price. But fair play to Hamza Shiraz. He moves on with his career. There's talk about him potentially being the next big thing in terms of British boxing, and maybe one of the fighters to potentially take over from big names that we know, such as Tyson Fury, AJ, and people like that once they retire. So they're considering Shiraz as one of the big names, hopefully in the future as well. And also on that bill was Shakur Stevenson. He took on William Zepeda, which was a very, very entertaining fight because Shakur Stevenson made it entertaining. He stood there and traded and fought with William Zepeda, making it easier for himself to get caught and hit and hurt. But also him doing the opposite to William Zepeda. I personally thought that he won the fight, even though some people saying that Zepeda should have probably had more rounds than what he was actually given. But I felt as if, like, regardless of Shakur getting caught with shots, I just felt as if he was always doing enough to win the rounds, and he looked as if he was, for me, the boxer on the front foot, the one that was making things happen. But yeah, good fight. Would I want to see it again? Probably not in a minute. I think there's bigger fights there for Shakur Stevenson. But again, that type of style will take a lot out of him. So I can't see him doing that type of fight for many fights, if you know what I'm trying to say. Because certainly would take a lot out of him, but it would also reduce the lifespan of his career as well, because that's not his game. That's not where he excels. But he did that, and he proved that to maybe prove a point to Turkey and some of the people that call him boring. The day after or so, we saw a tremendous interview on, I can't remember the guy's show, but anyhow, I watched it on YouTube between him and Conor Benn going back and forth. Would I like to see that fight between the pair? Certainly, but will we more likely see it? Probably not. Probably not. And the reason why I say that is because both guys are at different paths in their career. Yes, they're talking the talk and they want to fight each other, but they're only going to get in if there's a lot of money on the table, because Conor, obviously, whilst he's still young and he's doing okay at the minute, he should try and fight for a world title. Don't get me wrong, if he fights for a world title and he fails, then yeah, there's bigger fights there for him. In terms of Shakur Stevenson, yeah, he should try and clear up 135, and once he's maybe tried to clear up 135, move up to 140 before moving up to 147. Now, the main fight and the main reason why I'm on here is to talk about the trilogy between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. Now, first off, it was good to see boxing back on Netflix. It makes it a lot easier for people who already have subscriptions to just press a button, boom, you go and watch the fight live. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch it live, but I watched it as soon as I got up that day, because obviously it's an American show. I'm in the UK and people got work, so I did watch it the next day on Netflix, and it was good to just, as I said, press a button, you're on Netflix, boom, you can watch the fight. But yeah, both women again left everything in the ring. It was different to the first two fights, but it was still entertaining at times, and it took a while for both fighters to get into this fight. But once they did, you can see that both fighters could fight 10 fights in total, and they would entertain us on all 10. Now, as I mentioned just a moment ago, it wasn't the most exciting fights compared to the first two, but it was still a good fight. It was better than some of the fights that I've watched live this year. Now, do I believe that Katie won it? Yes, I felt as if she'd done enough to win the fight, similar to the other fights that they've had as well. The only difference being is that the other first and second fights were for me a lot closer, but with this one, I just felt as if she was more relaxed, she was more poised, and she looked like the bigger and stronger fighter in this fight, and that's my opinion. Now, the first two fights, for me, Amanda Serrano looked like the heavier puncher, the person who was looking likely to get a knockout. And we don't really see a lot of knockouts in women's boxing, but that's what she looked like in the first fight. Now, do I believe that Amanda Serrano's done in terms of her career? No, because I feel that there is potential other fights there for her. She's had 47 wins. Could she try and continue on to try and get 50 wins, then maybe retire? She's had 4 losses now. 3 of them will come to the same fighter, Katie Taylor. So she's not done and dusted, but it'd be good for maybe her to maybe complete a century of wins. I'm not sure if that's been done in women's boxing before, but yeah, she's a tremendous fighter, and she is one of the best in women's boxing. Now, for me, I would personally call Katie Taylor the GOAT of women's boxing. I know it's controversial because Clarissa Shield fans out there, but for me, I'd say that Katie Taylor is the GOAT. Now, she, as I said, beat Amanda 3 times and got 1 win over Chantel Cameron as well. Both of these fighters are in the pound for pound list as well. So I'm not sure if Clarissa Shields has done that. You guys can let me know. Not too sure. I only watch certain fights in women boxing. Now, with Katie, there's not long left in her career. She is what, 39, 40, something like that. So there's not long left in terms of her career. Now, for me, there's only one fight left if she's going to have a fight. I think she should just retire. But I think if she's going to have one more fight, it has to be the trilogy between her and Chantel Cameron. Reason being is that both fighters have a win against each other. Both fighters beat each other by majority decision. So it just makes sense to have that trilogy. Now, the video that I did for this fight, the pre-fight video, I did say that Katie was on a different level since she beat Chantel Cameron. That gave her a lot of confidence, a lot of poise. She's different. And now that she's beat Amanda Serrano for the 3rd time, she's going to be more confident than ever. So for me, it makes sense if she's going to have one more, it has to be against Chantel Cameron and call it a day, okay? Because it's not worth it at that point. Because there are some other decent up and coming women's fighters. I'm not saying they will beat Katie Taylor, but you just risking it for a biscuit. You're going to go out as the GOAT. If you beat Chantel Cameron, you're still a GOAT in my eyes. But if you lose, you lose. Obviously, Chantel's quite big as well. She's not fat, but she's quite big as in terms of size. So, yeah, it'd be interesting. But brilliant fight. For me personally, the first 2 fights were the better. The first one was the best for me, but the second one was just as good as the first, and the third one was 60% of the first two, I'd say, give or take. But yeah, you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you make of the Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano trilogy fight? Do you think it was better than the first two? Do you think that Serrano should have probably got this 3rd victory? And what about the other fights that took place on the weekend? Hamza Shiraz demolishing Edgar Berlanga. And the performance from Shakur Stevenson versus William Cepeda. As always, guys, please subscribe and comment. Bless.